NBA Milwaukee Bucks, after having the best regular season record in the NBA, 58 wins, 28 losses, the Bucks fire
24.
their head coach,
Mike Budenholzer.
Budenholzer.
And basically, it's because they lost in the first round. They were in the number one seed, and they lost to their rivals, the Miami Heat, who somehow always find a way to beat them. Giannis did get hurt and missed 2 games of the series, but they were a good enough team. They should have been able to beat an 8 seed, but instead, they got killed by Jimmy Buckets.
True, and a lot of people were saying that it's Mike's fault. He's a good coach. Yeah, the Bucks won a lot of games, but they won a lot of games because of Giannis. They didn't win it because of the coach. Because there's a lot of times like Giannis came out and said, "Oh, I would have guarded Jimmy Butler. I want to guard Jimmy Butler, but some people wouldn't let me." And they
Oh
blame that
yeah, he
on the
was
coach.
saying that he should have made him do that because he wanted to guard it, but he never made and had that conversation with the coach. But that's kind of also on Giannis.
True.
If he never went and had that for real conversation, I mean, he should have went and asked to do that if Jimmy was tearing him up too much. But it's weird. One thing that I've noticed in the talking head conversations, they said that even if you win a championship as a coach for a franchise that has never won a championship in their history, you got like a 2 year leeway for winning a championship. After 2 years, they could care less. Because think about Frank Vogel won a championship for the Lakers,
Yeah.
and then it was like a year and a half later he got fired.
Deuces.
And Mike Budenholzer won the
That was
Bucks
LeBron James'
their
fault.
first
Everybody knows that.
championship in a long time, and he got fired.
So what do they just get fired, or do they like switch teams?
The
Well,
coaches.
yeah, they get fired, but of course, if they're a good enough coach with a good enough reputation, a lot of the other teams that maybe aren't as good will try to hire them.
Or they go to college.
Yeah,
They
but a
become
lot
a
of
college
times they
basketball
get
coach.
rehired. Udoka, who used to be with the Spurs as an assistant, was the Celtics head coach, and he got caught for sleeping with one of the executive's wives. So they
The
fired.
Nia Long husband.
Yeah, Nia Long's man. He cheated on her, and so he got fired for that. And then it wasn't even a whole year later, the Houston Rockets, who suck, are probably the worst team in the league, they hired him because he's a good coach and was available, even though he had that kind of messed up past. Not it even happens with coaches that had like a year where they should have done good and done bad and got fired, but they hired him after a controversy,
And
which
we
is a whole different type of thing.
And how long do you have to like be with the team before you're like?
whoever you agree to.
I mean, like, how long do you have to get a win in order for
Oh,
to
that
like
is random.
dismiss you?
No, no.
It's just random. If you're a team with like all stars, they expect you. If you're expected to be in like the finals and you lose in the first round, they might fire you.
Yeah.
But if you're like a team with a bunch of rookies and young players and you're not expected to win the playoffs and you barely make it and lose in the first round, they might look at that as that you overachieved. So it really, every situation is different. It depends on what your team makeup is and what your team expectations are. Is really kind of how they judge them.
Yeah, and this expectation for the Bucks was going at least to the championship games. Looks
Yeah,
like
the
once
Bucks were expected to possibly get back to the finals and they lost in the first round. So
once again they lost to the Miami Heat because the Miami Heat know I told you as soon as this
they won
series
tonight
started,
too.
as soon as this series started, I already knew Miami Heat is the one team that knows how to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They just build a wall and they just help and they just watch Giannis try to run through them like bowling pins, but it never works and then they lose.
Do you think the Heat could beat either the Celtics or the Philadelphia with Joel and Harden?
I mean, I feel like they can be Philly. I feel like they can be Philly. Ooh, Jimmy Butler going back to Philly.
Yeah, I feel like the Heat could beat Philly if the Philly makes it, but I don't know if the Heat are beating Boston.
He'd definitely be in Boston. They don't have nobody. This is like
we're gonna save it for the
that'll
sports
be
show.
like the easiest match. That'll be easier than
Check us
New
out.
York Knicks.
We do sports as well. TFTC Sports. We'll bring you another playoffs
Jimmy
episode
Butler locking down Jason Tatum.
within the next week or two, and we'll get into a deep dive.